afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, thank you. Welcome to today's Mental Health Speaker Series event. This is the 65th anniversary event for the community on mental health. As you all may know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so you all are in for a treat today. Before we get started with the presentations, I would like to recognize the chair of the college's 65th anniversary committee, Dr. Shree Johnson, who is the Vice President for External Affairs, Communications, and Advancement here at the college. I also would like to recognize the co-chairs for the 65th Anniversary Committee. I, along with Nyki Jackson, who's here, Andrew Cruz and Dina Wilson served as the co-chairs. The Office of Government Relations and Community Outreach is honored to host this event as part of the 65th Anniversary Speaker Series. So I would like to recognize Sheree Moody, who is the Government Relations Community Outreach Director. And I am Yvette Richardson Duncan, and I serve as Director of Government Relations and Community Outreach. So as I said, thank you. As I said, you all are in for a treat. We have 3 dynamic speakers for you all today, and they will appear in the order in which I call their names. So the very first one is Dr. Danielle LaSure Bryant, who is here. Professor John Gilliom Carter. Mental health professional Nyki Caldwell Brown. And then we have representatives from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. And then Generation DMV Incorporated. Okay? And both of the last 2 organizations have tables out in the front. So after the event is over, please make sure you go out and get some of their information. Okay? And we ask that you all stay until the very end because we have a survey we would like for you all to take. And when you take the survey, you'll be entered into a raffle to win tickets to Washington, D.C.'s Broccoli City Festival. It's a 2-day event, free 2 tickets. The performers include Meg Thee Stallion and Victoria Monet, just to name a few. So a really good festival, so please stay until the end so your name can be entered. And as each presenter speaks, you all will have a chance to ask them questions. So we ask that you all would please raise your hands if you have a question so that a microphone can be brought to you so you can ask your question. Okay? All right, you all ready for the treats? All right. Yes? Okay, thank you. So please sit back, relax, and unwind your mind. And thank you all again for being here for this 65th Anniversary Mental Health Speaker Series event. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much for being able to be here today for this 65th Anniversary Speaker Series. As Ms. Duncan mentioned, I am Dr. Danielle LaSure Bryant, and I am the Program Director for our Wellness and Mental Health Center here on the PGCC campus. It's very exciting to be with you today. I've got some information in terms of sharing with you the services, programs, and initiatives that we put together for our PGCC students. So as I talk about our initiatives, I first want to introduce our dynamic team. So I'll start with myself. I came here to PGCC in 2019, started as a wellness and mental health counselor. In 2023, I then was voluntold to become the program director, in which I accepted in July 2023. So my background is in counseling. It's been for a while. Also, I'm a board-approved supervisor, which allows me to supervise other counselors. I take my wellness initiatives seriously, and so I became a certified wellness practitioner. And then finally, just a few weeks ago, I was given a wonderful award by the Maryland Counseling Association. Thank you, thank you. Wasn't expecting that. I'll put that on everything. But really, the heart of the Wellness and Mental Health Center is our team. We have wonderful counselors in our mental health center. For example, we have Latasha Pennant, who's a licensed clinical professional counselor. Her focus is with trauma and working with individuals around healing. And we also have Michael Barnett. And Michael is instrumental in working with men of color and helping them to heal as well. I am wonderfully blessed to also work with our campus nurse by the name of Arnita Shelton. She's a registered nurse, has been here more than 40 years, and is a graduate. So we're thrilled to have her. Our administrative person is Gwendolyn Schubrick. We call her Gwenny. And she has been a wonderful addition to our team. And then finally, we have a host of people who really help to make things work. And I see some of our volunteers in the audience, so I thank you all right now. We have our employees who volunteer every day in our OWL market. We have our federal work studies who show up ready to go. And then, of course, we have clubs and organizations that come to us because they need service hours. So we use them too. So, what is it that we do for our students in the Wellness and Mental Health Center? A plethora of things. I'll start with our counseling services. We also have a PGCC Cares initiative. Student health, I'll talk a little bit about that, and our violence prevention services as well. So, starting with our counseling services. Yes, we offer mental health counseling. Students can receive up to 8 free mental health counseling sessions with a certified counselor. Now, that might not sound like a big thing to you, but if you've ever tried to schedule an appointment with an outside therapist and they tell you, oh, I've got a wait list of about 3 months, you can understand how excited our students are when they walk in. They can have an appointment that day, or we can set something up with them. We do it in person and we do it virtually. We meet them where they are. Also, with our counseling services, we do programming. We do programming around healthy relationships. We do programming around managing stress, which one of our speakers is going to talk about today. So it'll be nice to be on the other end of that. Looking forward to that. Then we have PGCC Cares. PGCC Cares is our lifeline. And what I mean by that is we take care of students' basic needs. And I see some students in the audience who are nodding their heads. Yeah. What are basic needs? Basic needs like food, we all eat, right? Shelter, we all need a place to stay. We also, and with shelter, I want to be very clear, we give them resources and they also can apply for hardship funding as a way to pay for housing. Also with our PGCC Cares, we have a diaper program, so our students can receive free diapers every single month. And they do. They're coming. They're coming. They're having more babies and they're coming. But we like that. Those are future students, right? So that's PGCC Cares. Student health, that's where our nurse comes in. She does things like TB testing. We also work with the county to do things, rapid testing for HIV and STIs as well. And then finally, our violence prevention services don't necessarily want to use it, but it's here for students who may become victims of sexual assault or domestic violence. So I say we don't want to use it because we obviously don't want our students in that situation, but if they find themselves, we can certainly help and assist. And so with all the initiatives that we do, we're always looking for community support and community involvement. And we look for that in a number of ways. The QR codes up here give you an opportunity to tap into some of the sources that we use for our students, whether you want to help us with pop-up breakfasts so that they can have a nutritious meal before they take an exam, we'd welcome that. Or if you'd like to contribute to our diaper service, you certainly are welcome to do that as well. We go up to size 6 and we don't do pull-ups. That was an inside joke. Anyway, let's see, market donation, that's right. So sometimes organizations might want to put together a food drive. We certainly welcome food drives for our campus market as well. Students can get up to 15 free groceries every single day. And I'm not talking groceries like canned peas. I mean, we have those. But I'm also talking things like chicken, you know, and turkey, and cereal, and milk, and, oh, I missed my lunch. Food. I'm gonna stop there because I heard some growling. I don't want it to come through, so. But nonetheless, we have things that people use and want, and we welcome our students to come. So, I definitely share this with you if there is something that you would like to do for our students. And then finally, because I am the first, I want to leave room for everyone else. And so my presentation is going to be short and brief. And I thank you for your time and your attention. And I'm certainly open to taking any questions that you might have.
I have a question. What happens after the 8 free sessions?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it really depends. There are times when the 8 sessions morph into 18, honestly. Honestly, if the need is there, we meet the students where they are. We won't turn you away. We won't say, okay, 8 sessions, you got to be cured. It doesn't work that way, you know. Sometimes students need ongoing support. And truth of the matter is, I have counseled students for their time starting here as a freshman until their time leaving for graduation. I have 2 on my caseload right now who are graduating that we started as freshmen. So we don't turn you away, but we do have some boundaries so that we can see as many students as possible. To also help with that, we have a remote option for students called VCG, Virtual Care Group. And students can sign up to be able to have on-demand sessions with remote counselors. We offer that particularly when we're not in session. So it could be over the winter break, it could be an evening, it could be a weekend, times when we're not in school, but yet you still would have that continuum of care.
Okay, don't forget your questions. Okay. Good day.
Hello.
Do you have services that you offer for faculty and staff as well?
No.
Sure.
Actually, yeah. So that is a great question, and we get asked that a lot. And although we do not provide therapeutic services for faculty and staff, we are available through if there might be a crisis situation, right? So something happens at work, maybe you're informed of, unfortunately, perhaps a death or an accident, and you need that type of support. We can be available for that. We can avail ourselves to you for that. But we cannot enter into a therapeutic relationship with you. That's more so for EAP, and EAP asks us to promote that for you all. EAP is our Employee Assistance Program, and through them you're able then to contract with counselors that they have designated within their organization. And typically it's anywhere from 4 to 8 sessions in which you're able to meet with a person like that. Other services that we might have for faculty and staff come from our OWL Market. We do offer faculty and staff access to our produce. We get area produce from the Ujima Collective, which is a collection of Black farmers within Prince George's County. And they donate fresh produce on Wednesdays to us, and we make that available to faculty and staff. And I see some faculty and staff who have come in for it, so hopefully we will definitely continue that. And then lastly, faculty and staff have access to what's called TAO. TAO stands for Therapy Assistance Online, and it is a mental wellness app. And everyone, students, faculty, and staff have access to that. And it's something that I promote pretty regularly because it has mindfulness and different types of relaxation modules, things that can really help to provide that therapeutic support.
Where can they find it?
TAO, you can find that, it's actually, if you go to the wellness page, if you go to the wellness page, I believe it's embedded within there. And if it's not, then just email the Wellness Center. We'll get you signed up.
Thank you so much.
Hi. So, if a student needs to see a counselor during winter break or spring break, and they get to see one, if they need more sessions, would they be able to see the same counselor so they wouldn't have to keep telling another counselor, repeating themselves pretty much?
Oh, that's a great question. So I believe your question is really directed at the VCG. Is that what you mean for the virtual care group? Or are you talking about within our office?
I'm talking about the virtual care.
The virtual care, yes. Yes, they do have that option where students can continue, but I can't promise if the person is full, then the student may need to go to a different counselor. But the option is there for them to re-sign with the same person.
Okay.
And they also have different languages that they speak as well.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I was going to say I could be loud enough without the mic, but the first question I have, are the 8 sessions per semester, per year, or just per their time as a student here?
Okay, great question. Per semester. Our semesters are 15 weeks. And so sometimes we'll see students every other week. Depending upon the intensity of the concern, we may see them every week and then have to extend that.
And one more question.
Certainly.
Do the virtual sessions count toward the 8, or are they separate?
Oh, that's a great question, team. We might have to think about that. They are separate. Yes. They are separate. Great questions. Thank you. Thank you all. These are wonderful. It's encouraging that you're interested in the programs and initiatives that we have for our students around mental health and well-being. We will continue to do our best to make sure that our services are relevant and timely, and that our students continue to have the access that they do. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Professor Dawn Gilliom Carter. I am the Associate Professor of Human Services, and I taught here for about 8 years as an adjunct, and 2 years ago I became the Academic Coordinator and Associate Professor of Human Services. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about human services, what is human services, emotional intelligence, and mental health, and I'm so glad that we have this month set aside to work on breaking the stigma, especially in communities of color. So I first want to talk about non-traditional students. And in the field of human services, I noticed that most of our students that come actually have some type of trauma, have been associated with trauma, are non-traditional, they're not 18, and they make for the absolute best students, I gotta tell you. And in the Human Services Department, we have a 2-year associate's degree. Within that 2 years, I'm working on a lot of different therapy classes with students. They do therapeutic recreation, developmental disabilities, after their prerequisite. And what I've noticed over the last 3 years is an increased number of Latinx students. And I just want to go through what non-traditional means. So regarding students and their commute time, their living situation, their ages, I have a lot of mid-level professionals that are actually studying human services. And the other one is the college experience. A lot of them may have went to college previously and are able to come here, and we're actually able to substitute classes that they've taken other places as long as they meet the criteria. And the biggest one that I think that we have here are the first-gen college students. And I know that Prince George's Community College does a lot to shed the light on first-gen students and students with various incomes. And I think Dr. Bryant talked a lot about PG Cares and how they work so closely with our students. In the field of human services, a lot of our students' goal is to become a therapist. But human service in and of itself is an interdisciplinary field where our primary goal is working with a person to get them to optimal care, whether it's through housing, through social work. But my goal with my students over the last 2 years is to have them licensed professionals. So when I think about Mental Health Awareness Month, it's time to break the barriers, provide support, educate the public in ways to support people who are struggling with mental health. And the key piece to mental health puzzle is how we experience and process our own emotions around those. So I was also asked to talk about the origins of human service. And I put a little bit in here. I know this is a little antiquated for everybody about the Great Depression and what human services, the origins. Because when you think about human services, you say, well, there's social workers, but what actually do human service workers do? Well, I am a board certified human service practitioner, and that's the highest you can go as a graduate, having 2 graduate degrees without becoming a social worker. Now, the social work boards and the human services boards, they kind of have this little rivalry where we're not licensed, and I highly encourage my students to become licensed. So with human service, we know about social welfare, and from the 1950s and the 1960s, it really became a prominent field. So have more about human services. It focuses on prevention, remediation of problems, and maintaining commitment and improving the overall quality of life. I have 2 of my students here that are graduating May 28th. And that's all we talk about is improving and promoting quality of life. So these are some of the areas in which human services students like to develop an area of expertise, whether it's social work. We have an articulation agreement with University of Maryland, Baltimore, and several of our students are going and have gone to University of Maryland, Baltimore. They'll get their 4-year bachelor's, and then they have the 1-year advanced studies master's program if they do well in their bachelor's program. Then, of course, we have mental health. We have counseling, we have rehabilitation, we even have nursing, gerontology, justice, and probation. And I'm really excited about the rehabilitation and remediation and restoring abilities to different people from different walks of life. Now, with our 2 structured internships, we work very closely with Dr. Wilkins and Dr. Alicia in the experiential learning department, where our students are doing 2 structured internships, and it actually gives them a lot of experiential learning. And they do that, they do 2 within their coursework with us. They have the articulation agreement, and then they go on to 4-year universities. And a lot of our students are non-traditional, like I mentioned, they're paraprofessionals. They've always supported the licensed professional, and a lot of times they come so they can fulfill that validation by getting their degree and earning the money that they should earn. So the cornerstones of effectiveness for support, I'm going to talk about emotional intelligence. Now I know of a charter school and I know of a Montessori school where they're teaching elementary school students about emotional intelligence. And I want to talk about the fundamentals of emotional intelligence, especially during this month when we should practice it daily. I always tell my students to do an introspection, because whenever you're dealing with people, you have to first understand who you are. And I always tell my students, please don't go into malpractice, not even having a license, attempting to help somebody when you're not okay. So I want to talk about emotional intelligence and how important it is. It's the cornerstone for becoming an effective support to people. And individuals who've undergone emotional intelligence training possess a clearer understanding of their emotions, enabling them to manage stress and emotional upheaval. We have social media, we have, whether it's the political arena, we have our families, we have generations of untreated trauma, which are mental health issues that we're combating every day. And in order for us to be successful, we really have to get in touch with our emotional intelligence. I have more information about the Human Service Board Certified Human Service Credential. So with our students, we went to our first National Organization for Human Services conference. And we talked about the credentialing process, and we talked about the advancements that human services are going, and about the credentials and the certification programs. So when my students meet the criteria, they'll be able to be a part of a distinguished group of people that are working on high commitment to the field of human service. And I am promoting licensing. I am an unlicensed human service professional, but I am promoting licensing for my students because, as Dr. Bryant and our other speaker will tell you, I think one of the most coveted degrees in the field of social science is a social work degree. You have the license to practice therapy. You spend more time with the clients than the actual psychologists or the MDs. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, the definition, the working definition is the ability to perceive, interpret, demonstrate, control, evaluate, and use emotions to communicate and relate effectively. That's heavy. As a human being, this is really heavy. But watching students in a Montessori school at 5 and 6 years old, understanding their emotions, understanding how to process their emotions, understanding how to put words with how they feel, I think about how the society is going to be so much better. Now, yeah, that's only one school, but to understand that it is being taught. I went to Catholic school, it wasn't taught to me. I can say Hail Marys, I know how to do a whole lot, but that was not taught to me. And I make sure that I tell my students that emotional intelligence is what you have to bring with every case and every treatment plan that you're writing or thinking about writing for people. So with emotional intelligence, I just want to go over the 5 components. So it's social skills, being able to create a healthy relationship, decision making, the ability to make responsible choices and accept their outcome. Empathy, this is a big one. And I think the college did a great job the last 2 years focusing on empathy with our students. Empathy is the capacity to emphasize and appreciate another one's perspective. I always tell my students, you're putting yourself in that person's position. And then self-awareness. The knowledge of one's own thoughts, feelings, and motivations. And then the biggest, self-regulation. The ability to regulate emotions and actions in a variety of different environments. I stress this in social sciences. I am in the Humanities, English, and Social Sciences department. I am a one-person department. I am the associate professor, and I don't have anybody else but me and some adjunct professors. But this is paramount. You would think, well, this goes without saying. It really doesn't. Every day, I tell my students, every day when you get up, we have to do introspection, examine ourselves, especially in the helping field. Are we okay? And I always tell my students, if you're not okay, and you're going in and you're working with a certain population of people, you may need to ask for a mental health day. And I use a disclaimer and say, please don't tell them, say Professor Carter said I need a mental health day, but you have to. All of these things work together, and especially empathy. And with our clients, in whatever walk of life they're coming from, whether it's gerontology, whether it's developmental disabilities, whether it's somebody experiencing homelessness, there is a term that we use where people will have a learned helplessness. If we don't embody this as a human service professional, we literally are going into malpractice, because we have to embody this when we're dealing with special populations of people. And I want to say, because this is mental health awareness, I just went through mental health first aid. I'm sure that my colleagues have already done it. It is the best thing happening. I would say that every household should go through mental health first aid. It is a certification process. It's 8 hours. I will become a trainer. But I wanted to share this because I thought it was so relevant. Mental health first aid is an evidence-based early intervention course that teaches participants how mental health and substance use challenges work together. Now, it doesn't give you a license to diagnose or say you're bipolar because your moods are up and down. I always tell my students, when they get a little bit of information, they become, they think that they are professionals. And I'm like, hey, you're not diagnosing anybody. But this mental health first aid is as important as first aid CPR. I just want to leave you with the acronym. It's called ALGE. Mental health first aid uses the acronym ALGE when providing support to someone experiencing a mental crisis. And this is what, as citizens of this country, if we did this, we would extinguish so many tragic situations. A, assess the risk. G, give information and encouragement. E, encourage appropriate help. And E, encourage self-help. The acronym emphasizes providing initial support rather than teaching individuals to become a therapist. We covered, Dr. Bryant. But this mental health first aid, I cannot underscore the fact that it is as important as first aid CPR. Most of what we see, if we see someone talking and that we're saying they're talking to themselves and they're hearing command voices, if we see a student that may look a little disheveled and we're noticing things, that is when we go into using the mental health first aid. With communities of color, I am so fortunate to work this semester at UTC. I have had 3 classes where it was 90% Latinx, and I am so excited. I just did a podcast with Ms. Machado. And to know that people from the Latinx community, they're breaking the stigma. These are first generation students. These students were the interpreters for their parents. They're talking about the things that we typically don't talk about in households, where if certain households of communities of color, what happens in this house stays in this house, whether it is molestation, they're talking about everything, and they will be the change makers. And people always talk about, I'm digressing a little bit, people always talk about human service, how do you make money? Or people have this myth that you don't make money, and it's so not true. It depends on what you want to do. While I was an adjunct, I was an executive director of a nonprofit organization for 10 years in Washington, D.C. And with that came a lot of responsibility, and it came with a 6-figure salary. So when people ask, oh, human service, oh, what are you, case manager? Oh, no. I left that job after 10 years to train the human service professionals of the future. And I want them to be better than me. I want them to be licensed. So I just want to leave you all with that. And with human service, we're here. I think I have 9 graduates this year. I am so excited. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And I want 2 of the graduates to stand up. Can you all stand up, please? And I also want to say, one of the graduates is from Portugal. Raise your hand. Another graduate is from the continent. Our continent of Africa, and they are breaking the stigma. And that's what I love about what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. I gotta tell you, I was nervous in the beginning, but I'm very passionate about what I do. And ALGE, they practice this, they understand this, and they know that this is only the first step. Coming to PG is only the first step. You just can't stop here. So I am done. I've just put the site up for mental health first aid. I'm sure that Dr. Bryant already offers that. But if anybody has any questions, thank you. Yes.
Can I so I was wondering how you can offer this LD to our staff and faculty so we can put it into practice, because I think it's great, and sometimes we see case by case may be different, and we come across circumstances that we need this, and how can we promote this within us as an institution?
Thank you. That's a great question. I am in the Humanities, English, and Social Sciences Department. Dr. Corey Brown is my department chair, and I've talked to him about, I just became certified. I'll speak with him. He can speak with Dr. Bryant, and we can see how we can do that, because I think that is as important as first aid CPR. Thank you for asking that question. Yes.
So just to answer the question, Sabrina Thomas with ECT actually put out something maybe about 2 months ago regarding first aid mental health training. It's a partnership that PGCC has with Care First. So that is something that the college is actively offering.
Wow.
So as an invitation, Sabrina Thomas I think would be a great point of contact for you.
Sabrina's great too. We work together. Anybody have any more questions? Thank you. Yes.
As far as mental well-being, do you think there could be maybe, or do you all have plans to educate faculty and staff about the importance of mental well-being in the workplace and being considerate of those who do have issues with mental health?
I'll just speak from the HES department. I've only had this position for 2 years, and so right now I'm in the process of talking with my chair, Dr. Brown, about offering a lot of different things. Now I know at the opening week we're thinking about doing something, but that would have to be in collaboration with Dr. Bryant, I'm sure. But I think that would be great. And because of this day today, I am going to definitely say, hey, we need to do this.
Just your opinion. Mm-hmm. Just your opinion. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's something that needs to be mandatory in workplaces?
Absolutely. I'm speaking, just from being a certified person and being a board certified human service practitioner, I just think that we would extinguish so many different things if we offered that. Now I know that we're still kind of remote with the way we work, where we're on site a couple days a week, but I think that it would just help with early signs and extinguishing. I think I see somebody who talks about this. What's your name? Yes, you. Oh, Sandra. No, right there. You always talk about with students. Yes. Can you tell me your name, please? Mark McDonald. He always does a great opening week where he talks about some of the same things we're talking about regarding students. His is geared towards students. And I think that we could even replicate some of the things he's doing, but geared toward adults. Not adults, employees, I'm sorry. We're all adults. Well, thank you.
Third time. Good afternoon, everyone. Brothers, how y'all feeling? Good. Sisters, y'all all right? All right. Non-binary folks, I see y'all too. Glad to have you here. My name is Nyki Caldwell Brown. Brown is a new name. I am a newlywed, and I see my mother-in-law in the background. And I am not a member of PGCC, but I am so happy to be here to talk with you all today about one of my favorite subjects, which is stress and stress management. So, Booker. A little bit about myself, and they told me to come down this course. All right, so as I mentioned, my name is Nyki Caldwell Brown. I am a mental health professional and with a background in diversity, equity, and inclusion. My career started in a consulting firm that consults on how to increase belonging, inclusivity within workplaces. I am now a licensed graduate professional counselor. Thank you. And I'll explain a little bit about what that means. So licensed, as in I've taken all of the, first of all, licensed graduate. So I have graduated from a grad school program. I went to Johns Hopkins University and pursued my master's in clinical mental health counseling. Graduated last May, and then I pursued licensure. So you have to take all of these exams, all of these tests. They do a thorough job at making sure you're qualified, right, to sit and hold space for people. So I am now licensed in the state of Maryland to see individuals, see couples, and work with you all around your well-being, your challenges, that sort of thing. Counseling is its own field. It's different from social work. It's different from psychology, and it's different from psychiatry. Don't have time to get into that, but if you want to know more about that, ask me a question a little bit later and we can talk about it. People want to know what I did with my height or what I do with my height. I'm a former track and field athlete. I got my way through college at Wake Forest University, high jumping. What's the best sport in the world, y'all? High jump. Great answer, track and field, high jump. Thank you very much. Very good. These are some of my core beliefs. I only have 15 to 20 minutes with you all, so I want to jump right in, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more time to talk later. All right, raise your hands. Who here has ever been stressed? Raise them higher. All right, very good. Next question. Who here has never been stressed? Okay. Personal question. Who here might be a little bit stressed right now? All right. Let's talk about it. What does stress feel like? Yeah. Tell me about it. What do you feel in your chest?
It gets tight.
Okay. What do you notice with your breathing?
It stops.
Okay. Or it slows. It might be a little bit shallow. Yep. Do you notice your breathing? Yes. That's good. That's actually a great first step, to notice your breathing. Notice how deep it is. Notice how shallow it is. Notice how fast it is. What else, y'all? What's it feel like to be stressed?
Your back is tight.
Your back is tight, your head hurts, okay? Tired, not sleeping, sleep interruption, lack of energy, okay? What about no motivation? Might procrastinate a little bit. Appetite changes, yeah, it's hard to focus on those basic things. Awesome. Anything else? Irritability. Don't have a whole lot of patience for a whole lot of things. Yeah, I can relate, y'all. I can relate. So we all know what it feels like to be stressed, right? So here's what you all just told me. 1, stress is universal. We all experience stress. It's a part of being human, right? 2, stress is inevitable. It's gonna happen. We can't avoid it. This is not the type of mental health challenge that we are trying to avoid altogether, right? And 3, and this is one of my favorite parts actually, stress is both physiological and psychological, right? So the symptoms that you all were describing are both what's happening with your body, increased heart rate, tightness in your chest, your appetite changes, your sleep changes, all of that is happening with your body, as well as psychological, right? Like it's maybe hard to focus, or maybe you're hyper-focused. You are irritable, you don't really have a whole lot of patience. You might have ruminating thoughts about what you have to do, that sort of thing, right? Y'all, I love talking about stress. I want to tell you the story about how I really got into stress, but I'll also save that for later. Some key takeaways I want to make sure we understand is that stress is a natural and necessary part of life. It can become maladaptive if we do not manage it and get it under control, right? So we have this thing that we're inevitably going to experience. It can be helpful and positive, for example, when you may be preparing for a presentation or preparing for a test, or you just need to focus on something, right? But when you stay in this stress response, which again is physiological, there's hormones released, cortisol, you're not eating, you're not sleeping. When you stay in that response, that's not good for you, right? And so we have to know when to allow our stress response to motivate us and get us towards the next thing, and when we actually need to get on top of managing it. Another key takeaway, the huge, and this is pretty much what I just said, we can and should manage stress, right? We also know that stress, I believe it was the American Institute of Stress that found that 90% of health conditions are actually related to stress. They're stress related. So, and this blew my mind when I was going through my graduate studies, right? Learning how heart disease, hypertension, multiple mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, a lot of these issues that affect specific communities, people who look like me, right? They're connected to stress. I've found in my journey that it's helpful in our effort to manage stress to define it, to understand actually what it is. So let's look at a couple definitions. First definition is offered by the American Institute of Stress. It says a state of physical, mental, or emotional strain or tension. Pretty simple. 2, a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. Stress was actually developed physiologically to protect us as a defense against any threat. So, as you may have heard before, a lion is attacking you, right? A saber-toothed tiger. Those things you want to gear up and be prepared to fight, flee, or sometimes fawn, right? Just say, I give in. My favorite definition is this one on the bottom, number 3. Again, it's a physiological reaction experienced when a person perceives that the demand exceeds the personal and social resources the individual is able to mobilize. Now, I know that's a lot of words, but let's break it down a little bit. Physiological reaction, again, we talked about that. That is experienced when a person perceives. So it doesn't actually really matter if you're actually in a threat situation, it's your perception. It's your perception that you don't have enough time to study for that big test. It's your perception that you don't know the content on that big test. It's your perception that you don't know who to reach out to get help to be prepared for that big test, right? That sends your entire body into a response. So what I need to do is here, what I have is down here. There's a deficit, and that's our stress response. All right. So, don't have a whole lot of time, but I wanted us to do a bit of an activity. This is one of my favorite activities. This is something I practice for myself. I call it energy drainers and energy sustainers. So I'm gonna ask each of you to grab a piece of paper, and if you don't have a piece of paper, your phone is perfectly fine. Just something to write with, and if you don't have either of those things, just be active and engage and think about this. And I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. So on one side, we're gonna take the piece of paper, if you have one, and you're gonna draw a line down the middle. If not, be prepared to create 2 lists. Thank you. The first list is gonna be our energy drainers list. I would like each of you to think about things, places, people, or activities that deplete your energy, that make you feel drained or tired, that are unfulfilling for you. So again, energy drainers, anything, any place, any person that takes your energy away from you. So that's the first list.
So if we're sharing at work, make sure you don't write your coworkers.
I don't want to cause no problems.
Are we sharing out loud, or this is for
This is for your personal reflection. Sure. So again, energy drainers, anything that takes your energy away from you. People, places, or things that pull energy away from you, that leave you feeling tired. That's going to be on the first list. Take your time with that. The next list is going to be energy sustainers. So similarly, things, people, or places, or activities that are fueling, restoring, give you energy. So on one side of our list, we're going to have things that take away our energy. And on the other side of our list, we're going to have things that give us energy. It is okay if you have something that falls on both sides of the line.
Thank you.
So go ahead and take a minute of reflection, and we'll come back. And I want you to challenge you to get as specific as you can. So maybe you need a pseudonym for that coworker, but write that pseudonym. Because you know what it means. You know who that is, right? Get as specific as possible. Maybe you are energized like me by making yourself breakfast in the morning. What do you like to make yourself for breakfast? When do you like to wake up to feel energized? How much sleep do you need to feel energized? What's something you're passionate about, that you love, that also can be exhausting? All right, I'm seeing some eyes. Thank you so much for engaging with me in this. All right, no pressure whatsoever to share, but for those who would like to, I see a hand already. What's something that drains you?
Hold on, my question is professionally or personally?
Both.
Laundry,
Okay.
cooking, because I don't want to cook half of the time, but I make good food.
Okay.
Micromanaging situations, that's one of them. Some
Absolutely.
people just got the nerve and I'm
They sure do.
that was it.
Thank you. What's your name?
Oh, Betania.
Betania. Thank you, Betania. Who else? What drains you? Yes.
Hold on, I'm bringing the mic.
Huh?
I'm bringing the mic.
Oh, honey, you know I don't need that.
We're producing this.
The production.
Well, the primary reason I wanted to come to this was my mother's a paranoid schizophrenic or schizoaffective. I don't know what her diagnosis is because it changes every 3 or 4 years every time they come up with something new.
Sure.
But she drains me. And there's a huge amount of guilt because dealing with someone that is has psychosis and it has a severe mental illness.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of guilt that comes along with that because I don't want to be bothered. I've dealt with it my entire life, but I love my mother, but I don't want to be bothered. And it takes, when you're a caregiver, and it doesn't matter whether it's a caregiver of whatever disease it is, that just happens to be hers, there's a huge amount of guilt that goes along with the fact that it's exhausting to take care of somebody. And when you've been taking care of them your entire life, you want a minute to go, can I have my life? Can I have one moment? She was diagnosed when I was 12. Wow. When haven't I taken care of her? And so you deal with that, and then the fear that goes along with, oh, this is genetic. Am I going to wake up one day and be crazy? I know when I turned 35, I've never been so happy in my life. But oh, I made it. I'm not hearing voices because you worry about all that kind of stuff too. So that's a big push and pull, and then the stigma of even saying that I know somebody that is dramatically mentally ill. And it's one of the reasons why when I came, I told them that why I was coming. And why I'm so very, very vocal about saying my mom is a paranoid schizophrenic because I want to take the stigma out of it. No one looks at you and says with shame or ridicule if you say my mom has cancer. But if you say my mom has a mental illness or something like that, there's a shame and a ridicule. Oh, she's crazy. Yeah, she probably is, but that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve help. And it doesn't mean that the families that support them don't deserve help too. And you don't hear about those types of services. Where are the services to support the families that take care of the mental illness? Where are the, when we try to get help, when we try to get help for her, being mentally ill is not a crime. When I've gone to NAMI, I've gone to all these organizations. She's a threat to her health, threat to her safety. But there aren't services for that I can step up and say, hey, because the police go, we can put her in the hospital for 72 hours, but we can't do anything else. So those are the things that I do. Not that I'm trying to take over the conversation, but that's the push and pull of loving and draining and back and forth that I think is heavy that I deal with on a daily basis. I'm sure someone else in here has a similar situation. So.
What is your name?
Oh, Donnika Jackson. Okay.
Danica, thank you so much for bringing that into the space and sharing that. Relationships is one of my specialty areas because they are so critical to our well-being. And there are relationships with people that we love and care about and even need that require maybe a level of energy that we don't always have to give. And so identifying our energy drainers and sustainers is an activity that I love because it helps me identify where I need to establish boundaries for myself. And guess what? My boundaries can change. They can shift. I'm not in that season I was in that last time. I'm in a new season. What I can commit to is being in communication and maintaining and honoring my boundaries so that we can be in relationship, right? Let's shift to energy givers, energy sustainers. What gives y'all energy? Yes, I see an excited hand in the back.
I know, I see a lot more hands. I love shopping as I walk to the next person. As I walk to you, let me like that transition. Stay here.
Stand up, stand up.
Oh, stand up. Stand up. Okay. Do that dance on camera.
My name is Kapana. My sustainer is a drainer as well. I'd say therapy. It forces me to sit in how I'm feeling, but I also feel better after I get all of that out.
Thank you. So did I hear two things or one? Did I hear journaling? Or did I hear therapy?
Therapy.
Therapy. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Therapy. Y'all, therapy is important. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a therapist. I'm a therapist in therapy. Okay? And they say go to therapy. I know it's not that simple. Finding a therapist that is well suited to what you need, your identities, your backgrounds is important. And it's work, right? You may feel like you're interviewing for a job, okay? So it's okay to take your time to find the right fit.
Yes. Thank you. So, my creativity is both my nemesis and my superpower.
Okay, so it's on both sides of the line.
Yeah, because of my creativity, I'm here until 10 o'clock at night. Because of my creativity, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, I need to get there early because I got to finish what I was doing. It is difficult to turn it off at night. And not only that, but just dealing with a whole bunch of other things. And then I have a lot of energy, and matching energy with people that you work with creatively is
Love that you said that.
so very difficult. Because you're expecting the same energy that you give to be placed into the work.
Everybody's not like you, are they?
Oh my God, my husband says that to me all the time.
Everybody's not like you.
But yes, that's the creativity is, and it's something that I've started to work on in self-reflection and in my faith. But to sit down and talk about it with a counselor, I feel like I'm like, am I paying too much? There's a guilt associated, just like Danica said. There's a guilt associated with talking about what I do well and saying that it's something that's still draining me. How do I get that balance? And what right do I have to be coming in here complaining? For me, complaining is like a real no-no. I hate complaining without some kind of solution. I hate people that come and complain to me and offer no solution. They just want to complain. And it's like, I don't really have time for your complaints.
You take a lot of energy.
Yeah, you take a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate this particular talk to be able to say that out loud about myself. But also to be able to realize that I'm not alone. So thank you.
What's your name?
Mimi Machado Luces.
I saw you shaking your head a lot. Do you want to share one? Okay. Anybody else? Wait, one more. I'm going to go to her, but I'm coming to you, so don't forget.
All right, I'm Regina. So I have a lot of P's.
Okay.
That are sustainers for me. Prayer, positive people, positive spaces and places, and playing. I love to play and have fun.
What's positive?
Positive, I like solution-oriented spaces. I think there's a space for sharing the problems, but I don't like to just stay in a problem space. We gotta have some solutions, or I'm dying in that meeting.
Understood.
But positive spaces that leave you energized, you have action items.
Energized.
It's displays of perseverance, because we're all gonna have some problems, but persevering through problems absolutely energizes me personally and for my students, and the people I work with.
Thank you.
Everyone here is thinking, when you said play, we want to know how you play.
Please.
I love to play games. I'm so tempted to stop in the student center at times and play spades and do this.
I was like, you play spades?
But I'm like, well, I did. As people that are really into this, we don't play spades no more.
I would love to play spades with you.
5 crowns, spades, 10. I'm a gamer. And I like trivia games. I like gestures.
Yeah.
Taboo. You know, I got heads up on my phone. We can play a session now.
Honestly,
Stop it with the taboo, because look, you got me excited. Look, and then we can play heads up next.
Hello.
Hi, my name is JoJo, for starters. So I'd say, well, it's kind of paradoxical, because an energy drainer is spending money, but an energy sustainer is like buying shoes and things for my family.
Okay.
Like I have a really bad issue. If I'll see something that I know somebody in my family like, I will buy it, no hesitation. Like I just bought my brother shoes for his birthday, it's in June. And I bought my mom shoes for Mother's Day last month. So I keep buying these things, and I shouldn't. I really need to save my money.
Okay.
But I really love giving things to people.
Yeah.
And just buying. It is. It's horrible to my watch. I just see transactions, but
yeah,
it's real back and forth. But I really like making people happy by giving them things, and I really hate spending money.
Understood. Thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of what you all shared are not only energy givers and energy drainers, but they're coping mechanisms. They're coping strategies. When we go through life, we got to get through life, right? And so being human, we're going to do whatever we can do, good or bad, temporary or long term, to cope, to survive, right? For some people, that's making themselves a nutritious meal or giving. For others, it might be reaching for a bottle of alcohol or a drug of choice or any other number of things, right? The key to all of these things, and thank you so much for being as engaged as you are through this activity. This is something that I do for myself. I've been doing this for probably the last 6+ years. And I revisit it because this list changes, but what it does is it reminds you, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling tired and drained and unfulfilled, you can simply look at this list and identify what may actually be taking your energy, what may actually be causing that stress response. I like things to be real visual and clear and direct. Doesn't take any time, just look at the list. Oh, I feel this way because I've been spending a lot of time with so-and-so. Oh, I feel this way because I've been working on this project that excites my curiosity and my creativity, but it's really taking everything I have. Or, wow, I feel really uplifted because I went to my favorite spot to eat, or I saw the reaction of the gift that I gave my mother, right? The key with these things is, one, to know yourself, to give yourself permission to be human, and to take control. One of my values on the first slide was that I believe a self-examined life is the best way to live. Take accountability for where you get to spend your energy. And a lot of times we think that we have to give our energy to certain places, but that's not true. That just means we need to get better at managing our boundaries and honoring ourselves. All right, so I'm gonna skip to this last slide. Thank you for the time I've been given. To just look at some key areas of action, right? So first is shift perspective. Perspective is so powerful, right? People talk about glass half empty, glass half full. Sometimes we need to say the glass is half empty and half full. It's like, oh, that gives me permission to acknowledge everything that's showing up for me right now, because the glass is both empty and full. So shift perspective can really help us manage stress. 2, breath work. This is my favorite one on this list, one of my favorite ones on this list, because it is purely neurological, right? Everybody go ahead and notice your breathing right now. You probably weren't noticing it because you're focusing on something. And that's something I love about the breath. It's there for you since you were born. It's been there for you, keeping you alive, no matter how much attention you do or don't give to it, right? So go ahead and notice your breath right now. It's there, maybe quiet. Now go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. And one more time, in. Fill your lungs all the way up and out. Do you feel a shift? Yeah? That's breath work. There's a couple that I love that, if we talk a little bit later, we can get into. But there's lots of different ways of breathing, intentional controlled breathing that we can practice in order to manage our stress. I did it walking up to this podium. I've been doing it while I'm speaking, right? Because it's human for me to say, hey, I'm talking in front of a group of people I don't know, right? My body reacts to that. My hands are sweaty. So I can talk to my brain and say, it's okay. This is not a threat, just by... Third, re-identify and align with needs and wants. Do you need the pair of shoes? Do you need to buy so-and-so that gift? And I actually struggle with that too. Or is it a want? Sometimes we have to find alternative ways to meet our wants that are within our boundaries. So I don't got it to be getting you this new pair of shoes, but let me write you a thoughtful letter to acknowledge your birthday or Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever it may be, right? Let me send you a thoughtful text just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, right? Let me make a meal for you, make a little treat for you and bring it over. Get a little bit creative. So re-identify and align with needs. We talked about it earlier, shelter, food, right? Just sustaining living, and wants. 4, practice saying louder. 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3. No. Right. This is the only one up here that has a period. It's a whole sentence. No. I did a workshop once where we actually had to sit next to the person. We sat and turned to the person next to us, and we had to practice saying yes. They make a request, and we had to practice saying yes, maybe, and no. And just notice what came up for us in each of those things, right? Yes, maybe, and no. There are a whole lot of things that I bet a whole lot of people need to be saying no to, right? No, I don't need them French fries with my meal. No, I don't need the extra large. No, I don't need to go out. I need to stay in. No, I don't need to finish this work assignment past 5 or whatever time. I need to go home and be with my family or be with myself and relax, right? Because when you're saying no to one thing, you are actually saying yes to something else that you've already prioritized. Guess what? Hurting people's feelings and disappointing people is an expected part of life, just like stress. So if you're walking around the world just trying to make everybody happy, just reflect on how that's going for you, right? We got to start practicing no, and you can quite literally stand in the mirror and practice saying no. 5, pay attention to your body, movement, sleep, and nutritious food. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I will emphasize movement is another really quick way to activate our nervous systems and regulate stress. So even if you're sitting here, I got things in my hands, but just start wiggling your hands, your arms. When I'm sleepy at the wheel, I'll clap really hard and it'll energize me, right? And sometimes that's helpful just to shake the energy up in your body. So movement, and that can be a walk. I was intentional not to say exercise. Movement, it can be a walk, it can be taking the stairs instead of the elevator, right? A minute, if that's all you got, you can stand up and just move a little bit. 6, prioritize your energy sustainers. I encourage you to reflect on that list and keep adding to that list and know it's always there for you, just like your breath. 7, improve your time management blocks, schedule breaks. Vacations, y'all, take your vacations. And staycations. Maybe you don't have the resources to go land somebody's beach, but you can go downtown and check out something new that you've never experienced before. You can go to the park and feel the breeze, truly. And nature has been known to help regulate stress as well. And last but not least, seek social support like family, friends, and therapy. And I hear there's a couple therapists in the house that might be able to help you out with that. And without further ado, these are some resources that came across. The primary one is the American Institute of Stress has several assessments that you can take, questionnaires. They're $20 each, but it may actually be well worth it to just see what your stress is looking like. That's available on their website. And lastly, I left my information here unless you'd like to get in contact with me. Thank you. I don't know if we have time for questions. We did have some questions earlier. Are there any questions in the audience? Thoughts, comments, concerns?
That was great.
Do you recommend any apps for managing stress that we can download?
You know, I have a family member who sends me a Calm meditation every morning, and I really do like Calm. So I would recommend Calm. I love YouTube, y'all. You can find pretty much anything on YouTube. I'm not even kidding. Like, you can look up more breath work. Even just tapping into YouTube and asking what you want to learn more about. Though there's people who will take you through yoga, Pilates, breath work, meditation, pretty much anything you can think of. Yeah.
Thank you all. So we have two representatives here to speak to you all. One is from the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI. If Florence Nelson would please come forward and share a little bit of information about NAMI. And then after Florence will be Generation DMV to share information with you all about an upcoming conference they are having around mental health for Black men.
Thank you very much. And my name is Florence Nelson, and I'm actually a student here. So this is quite an honor to be actually asked to participate in this series and represent NAMI. I have been with NAMI for the past, officially in my capacity for about the past year or so. But I started off as a volunteer working with the organization. So just to give you a little background about NAMI, it is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and I am a program coordinator for the Prince George's County chapter. So we have about 12, I think maybe 11 or 12 different chapters. We've referred to them as affiliates across Maryland, and the national headquarters is in Northern Virginia, so it's not very far from here. So we have a lot of resources. I do have a table outside, but I'd like to also say that if you want to get involved with the organization, we are a nonprofit, we are grassroots. and it's for anyone who is impacted by mental illness, or themselves personally, or is a caregiver of loved ones or you are a caregiver of loved ones who may be impacted by mental illness. And so we have a great deal of programs and support, education classes. We have support groups. So basically we just connect individuals to each other also, and to members of the community. So what we do is we spread awareness, community awareness. We are advocacy, we're education. And if you do want to get involved, I encourage you to please stop by the table. We've got plenty of information for our chapter, but I am also very proud to announce that we will hopefully be starting the chapter here at PGC. Very, very excited about that. I am working with a dynamic student who is, she is a student here, and she was actually featured in the literary magazine Reflections last month for her storytelling and talking about her experience with mental illness. She's a big-time advocate, and she has done tremendous work with already speaking with elected representatives and on Capitol Hill. So I am so very excited. She was supposed to be here actually, but she got not feeling too well. But I'm very excited to be working with her to get the chapter started up here in the fall. So that's pretty much what we are as far as National Alliance of Mental Illness and what we do, some of the services that we provide. Of course, everything is free, and we just want to make sure that individuals that are impacted by mental illness, they have a voice as well. And we empower those individuals, and we try to get them involved and connect them to other individuals. And that's what we do: advocacy, awareness, education, and we would love for you to join our organization. And like I said, we're in the back, so got a little table outside with another organization that's just equally as good. So thank you.
You can play with it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello. Well, my name is Sandra, and I am the creator and founder of Generation DMV, Inc. And Generation DMV, Inc., we focus on Black men and mental health, and we literally focus just strictly on Black men, because we think that it's time to start breaking the stigma that's surrounding the Black men in our community. It's time to start letting Black men express themselves. And it's time to start showing Black men that they're not in this alone. It's other people out here just like them. And that it's okay not to be okay, and that it's okay to seek help. And therapy is not a bad word. It's actually a great word. We curate events. We have a Men and Mental Health Conference weekend that's coming up next weekend actually. This year we're doing a 3-day weekend. Last year we only did a Saturday. We just wanted to see what the response would be, and from the response that we got, it was huge. And Black men say this is a space that they needed, and that they felt that finally someone is listening to them, and finally they feel like they've been heard. So this year we decided to do a 3-day weekend, which is a Friday introduction, happy hour, and then Saturday we're gonna have our big conference. We have 2 panels. We're gonna have, of course, our first panel consists of your local celebrities and your local media personalities. And then we have a second panel, which is strictly licensed therapists. And the men are gonna have the opportunity to speak to them directly, ask questions, whatever it is, and get resources, information, and pretty much get to have a one-on-one with them if they need to. And then in the evening, we're gonna have a gala, because again, although we're speaking of mental health, we don't want people to walk away depressed and sad. We still want you guys to have fun, because again, mental health, although it's a sad, depressed, it's still fun. We can still make fun and create an atmosphere where everyone walks away with a smile and not feeling beat up, or not feeling like, oh my God, what did I just come to, or I feel drained. So in the evening, we're gonna have a gala, and during this time, we're gonna honor 3 Black men that are doing big things and are spreading awareness in the Black men community. We have Bashar William, Dr. Bashar William. We have Kiara Gaines, and we have Dr. Michael Lindsay. Those are the 3 honorees. And then on Sunday, we're gonna have a closeout brunch where we just want everyone to just come back together, exchange information, get to say hi, bye, and network, and one last powwow to everyone to just exchange information. And that's our weekend. And on top of that, we also have initiatives that's going on, which we create, curate events, and what we do is we try to create a safe space where men could come and talk amongst men, Black men, and discuss whatever it is that's going on. We've had 2 of those sessions, which I always tell people each time we come prepared, and I print out everything, topics, line by line, but when we get there, the paper is irrelevant because the men literally takes over, and they have so much that they want to discuss that each time we come, I just let them have it, and they appreciate it because it's, again, the first time they get to express themselves freely. They don't get to get judged. They get to know that it's okay. It's really okay to be emotional as a Black man. It's okay to cry as a Black man. It's okay to have feelings because, again, we're taught in our household, especially with Black men, suck it up. Don't show emotion. That's a sign of weakness. So we're trying to show that those are just hearsay. It's not a sign of weakness. Being emotionally unavailable or being emotionally depressed, those are not bad, and those are not bad words. Those are not stigma. No, let's stop with the stigma. Let's start to show you guys that, hey, there's people out here that care. There's resources out here. The states and the counties set aside fundings that are free that you guys can actually tap into and get free resources. And a lot of people don't know that. And I'm like, some people, you don't even have to have insurance to get a therapist. You can go see a therapist without an insurance. You just need the resources. So we're trying to create, provide, and bridge those gaps so that Black men know, hey, we can actually go here and find all this information that we need to help us improve ourselves, our mental health, because I always tell people, if you're not mentally healthy, you're not physically healthy, so.
Absolutely. Well, I second that. I'm Tia Whitaker. I'm the VP of Generation DMV. And I don't have much more to add. I just want to say thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure. I'm an alum of PGCC, so it's great to everybody like, oh yeah, that's where I'm going. This is the best of the best. But as Sandra stated, we're creating a village, and it takes not just our organization, but the partnerships with other organizations, what you guys here are doing at the community college. It's important because mental health, like you said, doesn't have to be negative. It's a part of life, and it's just you got to continue, like you water your garden or your stuff will, not grow. You have to water yourself, and so that is what we're looking to do. We're trying to help you get what you need, and we're doing that through the conference and through the workshops and the partnerships that we offer. So we invite you to come out to the table, check us out. If you can come past the 3-day weekend event, one or all, we invite you to do that as well, and just connect with us. We'd love to hear what you got going on and further work with all of you. So thank you so much for inviting us out. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give all of our speakers, our wonderful everybody a round of applause, please. So you all just heard from NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And then you heard from Generation DMV. They also stated they have tables out in the front, so please stop by on your way out. So before we end, we had a lot of people who were here who were on the 65th anniversary committee, so I want to make sure we recognize people who are on the 65th anniversary committee. So if anyone is here from the 65th anniversary committee, you can just wave your hand just so you can be recognized. If you do any work with the 65th anniversary, thank you. And before you all leave, also, we want to recognize our amazing speakers. And then we're going to also make sure we recognize those who have a table outside too, to make sure you all have a token of our appreciation. So without further ado, just have a little bit of gifts for you all. Okay.
So for our speakers,
Thank
you all, please join me in giving them a round of applause. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that this was helpful for you, that you all will also be engaged in other mental health awareness month activities. But sincerely, thank you all so much, and thank you for staying until the very end. And thank you for who you are, for what you do. You all are important, so thank you.
Thank you.